Wow, so that rear end fought me tooth and nail, bro. Alright, so I told you that I flipped the rear end to put the sprocket on the left side, okay? To line up with the Predator motor, obviously. That way the motor ain't hanging off the chassis on the right here, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I flipped the whole rear end. That didn't work out because it threw off the whole geometry of the bike. You could see obviously on the frame that it's not centered, you know what I'm saying? One axle's longer than the other. Anyway, I flipped it back and then I decided I'm just going to switch the center section, flip the center section. So I go to pull the axles out, they unbolt. You got to whack them out with a 2x4. They'll come out, but they did not want to come out. But I put this piece back on there, whacked the shit out of it with a 2x4, and they came flying out. Anyway, that side goes back together, no problem. No problem. Smooth. Stick this axle in, and it's like an inch too long. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, it's coming past the center pin there. It's like coming out to here. I'm banging it through, and I'm realizing I can't even put the pin in anymore. So I'm like, what the hell? So after going over a million things, trying to make sure I got it right, every time I tried to pull in that bearing there, it would tighten up and seize up the rear end. You know what I mean? That motherfucker would not go. Anyway, what I did was I trimmed the axle down a little bit. It still has about 3/4 of an inch of spline left on it. And I also, where this bearing sits, what it sits on the axle, I grinded it back to drop it like a 1/4 inch. So I took a 1/4 inch off of that and that much off of the axle to get that thing in there. It's butted right up against the center pin. It feels good. I tightened it all the way up. It didn't bind up. It's nice and loose. You know what I'm saying? Everything's nice and tight in the rear end, and it's still spinning freely. But man, it fought me tooth and nail. I tried everything because it didn't make sense why that axle would not fit back in there. But I got it. She's back together. My son picked out a copper color for it, so we're probably going to go with that. It should be bugged out. Let's see.